Hi everybody, Laura here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited to be a part of the Holiday Lights Hop with Pearblossom Press, and I'm making a fun holiday interactive card that lights up. I've never done a card that lights up. Maybe you have. I haven't, so this is new for me, new territory. I'm going to show you how easy it is. So I'm featuring the Easy Lights by Pearblossom Press. They have a few different variation of lights. These are the halo lights. These are the Easy Lights, which is what I'm going to be using. You get 3 little lights, and this is a new one called the One Light. So it's one light, no wires, slap it down, bada boom, bada bing, you got a light. So a few different choices. I'm going to be using some Concord 9th dies and stamps, home for the holidays. I'm going to create a little neighborhood, and got different little pieces of solid color cardstock here that I'm going to create and layer to the homes. Now I did change my mind on some of the colors, so this card is an evolution. It's an evolution in progress, and I didn't, you know how I am about color. Like, the color's got to be right. It's got to feel right. So I did the 2 different shades of aqua for one house. We got a red. Love a red house for the holidays. I thought I wanted to go with a yellowy orange, and then I just wasn't feeling that yellowy orange. And here's basically what I did, if I'm being honest with you, is I go on Pinterest. I type in Concord 9th home for the holidays. I see what everyone else under the sun has done with it, and then I kind of take a little bit from everything that I've seen, and especially Concord 9th. They have some examples of these dyes, and I really relied heavily on the color combinations that they used because it just seemed to work. They had an aqua, a red, and a gray house, so I can't really take credit for that, you know, but I do have a different layout. Anywho, now what I'm doing is just gluing all these pieces together. It's kind of tedious, but there's something about architecture that just tickles my fancy. I don't know if you're that way. Do you like houses? I like houses and cars and stuff like that. It just really tickles my fancy. It just toots my flute. And so you got all the different little rooftops, some tiny little pieces, little doors, and of course you could adapt this for different times of the years. I don't think that this die set is limited to the holidays at all, especially when you see when I put the lights behind it. It could be a great welcome to the neighborhood. It could be like a hostess card. Congratulations on your new home, stuff like that. Now I am adding I took some white glittered cardstock, and they have these little snowy caps that you can add to the trees, to the corners of the roof. And now, I don't know what I was doing, but I must have got flustered with my camera work, but I forgot an important step here. I must not have pressed record. So I have a panel of cream cardstock. What I did was arrange my houses, just the 3 houses on that panel. I took a pencil and traced where the windows are. And then now what I'm doing is taking the little door die that was part of the door, and I'm using it to cut out all the openings that I marked with my pencil where the windows would be. So, and I'm just doing a butcher job of it too. But like, I didn't know how else to cut a hole. I didn't want to cut the entire, because I got to have something to stick the house to, but I needed an opening behind the window for the light to show through. So like I said, this is an evolution. Maybe there's an easier way to do this. I'm not sure, but I was just flying by the seat of my Easy Light pants. And so then I just like see the house, I put it over top and see, did I make the holes in the right spot? Sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. But here's my little layout, and I've got the house. I can see where I have a couple boo-boos. Got to make a few slight revisions, no biggie. Maybe you could take a craft knife and cut these. It's hard to cut, you know, whatever, you get the idea. So I'm making a couple little revisions, and you don't want to cut too much, right? But you got to cut just enough. And again, like I said, I've never done one of these light up cards, and I've always been really intimidated to do these. Something about wires and batteries just make me want to run for the hills. But after I made it, I went skipping around the house, and I had to show every person in the house, and I'm telling you what, their reaction, it was worth it. Now I'm hooked, you know, because that little bit of affirmation just got me skipping. Now I want to make a bunch more. So luckily there's 5 of those easy lights in a pack, so you can make 5. And then the little one light, Those are so cheap. I think they're like $4. And then the halo light allows you to make like a circular, like a window opening or a shaker. What you got to do is you got to go on the Pearl Blossom Press, check out their YouTube, and just see what they've all done. That's what I do. You know, when all else fails, Google the Google and Pinterest it up to the high heavens. Yeah, that's what I do. Okay, so now I'm just tucking in, popping up a few trees, and then there's this little light, what do you call it, a light post? And that little pop of black just sealed the deal. Now for a sentiment, I'm going to emboss this Happy Christmas, which is also a little Home for the Holidays coordinating stamp set. And I'm going to emboss it in white onto some of that dark charcoal cardstock that I kind of tied into some of the roofs and tying it in. So I'm embossing that, and then there's a little die that came with the Home for the Holidays. It's like a swoopy little banner die. Everything's thought out. I mean, do you guys love Concord 9th or what? Also, I got to tell you, I used some Concord 9th cardstock. That red house, I'm telling you right now, like, by the way, I'm pulling out the Easy Lights, the 5-pack. I've never done, look at this, you get 5 of them. And they're kind of like, you got to untwist them and tie them. So, and then for each one, you need a little battery. And then what you do is, maybe you already know this, you slip in the battery, easy peasy, and then when you press the button, the lights light up. I mean, forget about it. Okay, by the way, the red cardstock on that house is, I put a little score tape on the back of my battery base. I don't know what you call that. I'm going to call it a battery base. So now you got to line up where you want your push button to go. And I'm going to put it right under the Christ in Christmas. And like now that I say that, it sounds genius because Christ is the light of Christmas. But when I was doing this, really honestly, I had no idea. I just placed it under the banner, under the sentiment banner. Now I'm making a few tick marks where I want those lights to go, right behind the windows in the houses. So back to the red cardstock. And I'll tell you what, I am a cardstock connoisseur. And that Concord 9th has the best red in town. It's the brightest, cherriest, poppiest red. And not all reds are equal. So I'm using score tape to hold down all the 3 lights where I want them to go. And then I wanted to make sure that I didn't have any wires showing through my windows. So I'm just taking some Post-it tape and score tape and just slathering it down to the high heavens. Now, I'm not really sure about foam tape, but I doubled mine up. So unless you got a thick foam tape, you got to make room for that battery base thingamajiggy. It's got to be thick enough. So I doubled up my foam tape. Everything's ready to go. I've got a white card base with a beautiful white border around the edge. And now here you press on Christ. Boom, bada bing. Okay. Now I know I probably should put an arrow that says press here, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So if I give it to someone, I'll tell them press on Christ. But Christ is the light of Christmas. I mean, should I break out in a hymn or what? But like, my husband about flipped a lid. He was like, this is the best card you've ever made in your entire life. I think it's the light up. It could be the houses. Maybe it's that bright red poppy cardstock. I don't know. But either way, make sure and check out the rest of the Holiday Lights blog hop with Pearl Blossom Press. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.